going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets. I'm Chris Meaney. Appreciate you guys taking the time here. Stanley Cup Finals get underway tonight at sunrise in Florida between the Oilers and the Panthers. The lengthy days off, it is finally here. The Oilers looking for their sixth cup, first since 1990. A win would mean the cup would be back in Canada for the first time since 1993. Of course, the Panthers entered the league in 1993. They're still looking for their first Stanley Cup. Last year, we all know that they lost in the Stanley Cup Final against the Vegas Golden Knights, and they lost in the finals in 1996 to the Avs. I do believe that's correct. It's early here on a Saturday. Bear with me. So this should be super fun. The conference finals were a little low scoring. I think this one is going to be a little bit more wide open and more scoring. I think there's going to be a little bit more offense here in this series. We'll get to some game picks for tonight for game one, but I have a couple futures that I wanted to share with you guys as well. I think special teams will play a big factor, of course, like they usually do. Edmonton's power play is operating at a ridiculous 37%. Well, that's pretty good. They've killed 28 straight penalties in a row, so they're doing it on both sides. Their penalty kill percentage is the best in the league, is 93.9%. Meanwhile, the Panthers are right there, second in penalties, penalty kill percentage, solid power play, top 10 in the season. I think they're top 5 penalty kill in the season. No team allowed fewer goals than Florida. I think they were tied overall with the Jets, but at 5-5, they allowed the fewest goals, fewer than anybody. And in these playoffs, in terms of shots per 60, according to Natural Stat Trick, they've allowed the fewest shot attempts, So they've been stingy. The Oilers have been stingy. Like, they played a great brand of 5-5 against Dallas. It's really surprising how well they played, and they really took it to the Stars apart from the final game. But with Bobrovsky, I think that's where they have the edge. You know, he's a 2-time Vezina winner. I know that Stuart Skinner is playing really good, but Bobrovsky's allowed 2 or fewer goals in 13 of his 17 games. I think the competition's been a little bit stiffer for Bobrovsky and company as opposed to Stuart Skinner, the Kings and the Canucks, and of course the Stars. Definitely a tough test, and he passed that one. Can they limit McDavid? Couple cool storylines. McDavid, 31 points in 18 games. He's 16 back at tying Wayne Gretzky's record for 47, the most ever in a playoff run. That was in 1984-85. And the same season, Paul Coffey, 37 points, the most points from a defenseman in a playoff run. And Evan Bouchard is 10 points back of tying Coffey. There's a future special called Record Breakers over at ESPN. And Bouchard had 11 points against the Canucks in round 2. I think it's going to be a similar series where we can see some offense. If it goes 7, he could knock on the door of this record. It's 9-1 for Evan Bouchard to break the record and have 38 points in these playoffs. A little bit of a sprinkle at 9-1 is not my favorite sprinkle, but I do like it. And we'll get into some picks here. I got the Panthers in 7. I like the Panthers in 7 just from some of the things that I talked about. The edge and goal, the home ice, the 5-5 play. Of course, you're going to have to stay out of the box, right? Only the Ducks took more penalties than them. They can't be taking all these penalties because the Oilers in the final 2 games of the series, Dallas wasn't taking any penalties. They scored their first 2 shots on the power play in game 5. Do the same thing in game 6. Rest is history. So they'll have to stay out of the box, but I like their brand of 5-5. I like their special teams. I think they have the edge and goal. And there's something to be said about, going back a second year, right? Knowing whatever you gave wasn't good enough. It's like the extra little bit that you can give. I remember the Penguins when they played the Red Wings in the Stanley Cup Finals back-to-back years, right? They lost that first one. They went right back and they won that second one. Another loss from Marian Hossa, I do believe, in that one. He left Pittsburgh and joined Detroit. Corey Perry, I think he's the only player to play in 5 Stanley Cup Finals now with 5 different teams. I know he's lost a lot of them, but he does have a victory there with the Ducks back in the day. But I think it's been good. I think it's going to go 7. Should be fun. A lot of offense, a lot of goals. So you're here for the picks. Let's get into them. I'll save game 1 for the end. These are some futures that I like. We'll start here with Reinhart. 2+ shots in every game. I'm probably going to be pretty light on shot props throughout. We'll get a feel of how things are looking here in game 1 or game 2. But I wanted to just do some futures, and then I think I'll attack like point props throughout the game. So Reinhart, 2 shots in every game. This is over at BetMGM at +155. He has at least 2 shots in all 17 of his games so far in the playoffs. He averaged a career high 2.8 shots per game in the regular season. He's averaging 3.8 shots and 7.4 attempts per game in these playoffs. 65 shots ranked third, 126 attempts at all strengths rank fourth. So we're leading here with Reinhart. On the other side, a little bit juicier, Zach Hyman. 2+ shots in every game at -120 over at BetMGM. We had this one in the previous round. We also took a bit of a sprinkle on 3 shots. I'll do the same. That's around 6-1. But I wanted to come in here with some that I think are going to win. And I think Hyman's going to have 2+ shots in every game. He's had 2+ shots in 17 of the 18 here in the playoffs. Leads all skaters in shots with 76, 4.2 per game. 3.6 in the regular season. He's averaging nearly 2 more minutes per game in these playoffs, just like McDavid. Everybody's getting a little bit more ice time here in the playoffs. Playoff high 14 goals so far. Then we got McDavid, who's been much more aggressive over the last few games, shooting the puck, right? I never really would think about this. It's just 2+ shots for McDavid in every game at +135 over at ESPN. I actually think this line has moved since we put it in our tracker earlier in the week, but I still think it's plus money, and I think BetMGM is offering it as well around +110. But 2+ shots in 10 of his last 12 playoff games, 4+ in 4 of his last 6, 23 over that span, averaging 3 shots per game and nearly, like Hyman, 2 more minutes per game in these playoffs. And I've just seen a more aggressive Connor McDavid. And that's the thing with Florida, too, that I didn't really get into. Like, Forsling is on the rise here. It's like a breakout in these playoffs, eating up a lot of ice time, doing it on both ends. You know, you have Brendan Montour, you have Ekblad, you have Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Like, this should be a really good series, but I lean Panthers defensively too, and I think where they'll eat up the Oilers is that bottom 6. Lindell's looked pretty good in these playoffs as well. So if you can get something going with Tarasenko, I'm getting sidetracked. Verhaeghe, 2+ shots in every game of this series. Plus, that should be +120, not 12. So +120 there for Carter Verhaeghe, 2+ shots in every game. A couple others that I like here. McDavid, a point in every game is +195. Why not? Let's take a shot on that one. And for him to have 2 points in every game is 41-1. Of course, that's a long shot. So, for example, +195, that's at BetMGM, a point in every game. That's a full unit for me. And then for him to have 2 points in every game at 41-1, it's like 0.10. Like, nothing. Just a little bit of a sprinkle on it. Who knows? If there's somebody that's going to do it, it's him, right? He's got the 31 points in the 18 games. He's got 9 multi-point games here throughout the playoffs as well. So McDavid for a point in every game and 2 points. Back to Forsling. So I did have something here for Forsling. This is a longer shot. This wouldn't be a full unit, maybe 0.25. For him to have 2 shots in every game, but +775 over at BetMGM. 2+ shots in 11 straight playoff games. In 14 of his 17, he's had 2+. 22+ minutes of ice time in 7 straight games for Gustav Forsling, and 18 shots in the 6 games against the Rangers. It was kind of like the breakout, right? Great defenseman. I think he led all players in plus-minus this year. We know about his defensive game, but here in the playoffs, have been more aggressive, joining the rush, skating it up. He's a great skater, and he scored some big goals and picked up some big points here in the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference Final. So taking a shot on that one. And like I said, 2+ shots in 11 straight games. Why wouldn't we take a shot on that one? Evan Bouchard, back to him for a moment. 2+ shots in every game as well. +310 over at BetMGM. I'll be honest, I'm doing this with a lot of the players. I have some sprinkles. Kachuk 2+ shots, Draisaitl 2+ shots. Draisaitl's like 3-1. Kachuk is a little bit, juicier, but still plus money at +130. Bennett's 5-1 for 2+ shots in every game. Then, taking a bit of a stab on Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Hyman, and McDavid as the 3+ shots. McDavid's at +775. Again, those are all just like 0.25 unit plays for me. But the ones that I showed you here, if you're watching on our YouTube page, we appreciate you guys. Smash that like button. The ones that I showed you on the show, brought up as banners, are the ones that I like, and you're listening on iTunes. I'll just recap here. It's Reinhart 2+ shots in every game. It's Hyman 2+ shots in every game. McDavid, Verhaeghe. Those are the 4 that I like the best. Then McDavid for a point in every game and 2+ points. A little bit of a sprinkle there on the 2+. Forsling, right? 2+ shots in every game. Bouchard, 2+ shots in every game. That's it for the futures. There's some other things like Bouchard 6 points, Verhaeghe 6 points over at Bet365. Both of those guys are -130. And I think the little bit of a sprinkle at 9-1 at ESPN for Bouchard to have 11 points in the series to break Paul Coffey's record is very intriguing, especially with the power play operating at 40%, the way that the Panthers take penalties, and the fact that we already had a series in these playoffs where Bouchard had 11 points. As for tonight, I like Florida, the money line at -138. I took the over on Monday thinking this line would move. I think I got -108 for the over 5.5. I'm on the over, guys. I do feel like this is going to be a high scoring series. I know the Panthers are great defensively and a lot better than most people think. This is not the Panthers of last year where we're like over in every game. Bobrovsky's been solid. They're stingy defensively. They don't give up a whole lot at 5-5. But Edmonton's going to do their part. They're going to score goals. Like they had 8 shots at 5-5 the other night against the Stars, and they're still able to, score a couple goals in that game. And the way that the Panthers can bring it offensively, I do feel like we're going to see some goals. So Florida tonight on the money line. I got the Panthers in 7. I got the over 5.5. So I'll do some point props here because I'm in on the shot props from a future standpoint. McDavid, back to McDavid, 2 points tonight, right? +1 over at BetMGM. Mentioned the 9 multi-point games. Got Hyman and Bouchard for a point each. That's at 365 at +120. Barkov and Reinhart for a point at +100. Not sure yet what the lines are going to look like. I know Paul Maurice put Verhaeghe on that line. If he goes back to his old way of like Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Kachuk, then I would keep that. I think Reinhart and Barkov they're just locked in. They're going to play with each other all the time. As for Verhaeghe and Kachuk, if they're together, then I'll do Verhaeghe and Chuck. It's around +120. If Verhaeghe does stay on this line, you could add him if you wanted to. Be getting a little bit greedy there, but I do think he'll hit the score sheet tonight, and these guys as well. And then Sam Bennett for a point as a single play at +120. 4 goals and 6 points in 6 games against the Rangers. He checks in with a 3-game goal streak, very noticeable, shooting the puck, and we're going to take him for +120 for a point tonight. Everything else is kind of juice. Like there are some shot props out like 3.5 for Reinhart, for Hagee, for Hyman. Hyman's around -110. I would lean with Hyman having 4 shots just because of the way, how his shots come, where they come from, like just dead center in front of the net, like a couple of rebounds, and all of a sudden, like he could have 1 through 2 periods, and he can get like 2 or 3 on like one sequence there. And then I would lean with Verhaeghe. Like Reinhart and Verhaeghe are guys that have a lot of shot attempts, but I would lean with Verhaeghe. I think he's the shooter on the power play. He gets the puck a little bit more on that half boards, and he kind of rips it towards the goal where Barkov's looking for him, and Montour's kind of looking for him as well. All right, that's it. Should be good. Should be a whole lot of fun. As a Canadian, it would be cool to see the Oilers lift the cup. Selfishly, though, we at FTN, we do have that 18-1 future on the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. And we did get burned by the Stars. So wouldn't mind seeing Florida get it done as well. Either way, I think we're going to be pretty happy here. Have a good one. Enjoy. And we'll regroup for game 2. We'll have some more picks here on Mean Streets. Appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out. Let me know in the comments your favorite future, any futures you're riding, or any questions you have as well. Did have one more pick for you guys. Darnell Nurse 3 blocks at -110 over at Bet365. So Bennett for a point, Nurse for 3 blocks. We got Reinhart and Barkov for a point each. We got Hyman and Bouchard for a point each, and we got McDavid for 2 points as well. Goal scorers tonight, I'd say Verhaeghe finds the back of the net. Connor McDavid finds the back of the net. And I was going to say Tarasenko, but let's go with Tarasenko. Maybe he scores when he finally got on the score sheet the other night there in the game clinching, punching the ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals is Vladimir Tarasenko. Now I'm just rambling. Have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.